How you guys doing? I'm gonna do a movie review for the movie I, Tonya. I just saw this one twice this weekend, and it stars Margot Robbie. It's a very good movie. I was hesitant to see it because I'm really not a fan of Tonya Harding at all. But I heard great things about the movie. I heard it's a great sports movie, which is something I love. I love sports movies, and I decided to give this one a try. And overall, it was a very good movie. It it's a good sports movie. It gives you some history about things. I found it interesting how good Tonya Harding actually was because I was very young at the time when the attack took place, and I wasn't really fully aware of where the woman stood. I understood that they were, the two of the best in the world. Um, but it was interesting to get some background, some stuff that I didn't know before, and stuff like that. But the movie is about Tonya Harding's life early on, and then it builds up to the attack, and then the second half of the movie is basically all around the attack of Nancy Kerrigan. Now, like I said, it was a good movie, but it was very biased. It was basically told from from Tonya Harding's perspective, which really it blinds people who are watching this thinking it's factual, thinking that it's unbiased. They're really getting brainwashed and just getting Tonya Harding's perspective, which is really sad because they're taking this movie as Bible, as gospel, and just running with it, and this is what happened, these are the facts I saw in the movie, and that's like sad. You can't be going by the movie. You need to dig deeper than that. And basically, if you know the story, you know what happened in the movie. I mean, Tonya Harding was once one of the best skaters in the world, as far as figure skating goes. During the late 80s and especially in 91, which was her year, 91, she was the best in the world. But then after 91, she started to fall off. Skaters like Nancy Kerrigan started to build up, get better and better. So by 92 Olympics, Harding was slipping, really. And she was no longer the best in the world like that. She was not on top of her game. She was not as hungry as she was before, which is sad. So by 92 and 94, when the attack took place, she was really losing ground to Kerrigan, who was hands down better and more driven. And, Harding was just falling back. She was, almost becoming like a has-been or whatever you want to say. She was just washed up, but she was only 23 years old, which is crazy. And, that's just insane. But she was not working hard enough, and she had divorced her husband prior to in '94 or late '93, and then they started getting back seeing each other again because she felt like she needed him and her wife to get better and better. She said there was officials around the skating association that really liked Jeff and they wanted him around. They thought he was good for her, basically. They thought her life was more stable with him around, and when he wasn't around, she was just like not driven, stuff like that. But it was well acted movie. I really loved it. I did love it, but I hate having to support Tonya Harding and all of her lies by like buying this movie or anything like that, because that's what it is. It's really just full of her lies, and I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. Um, Basically, what happens in this movie, I'll get into some spoilers, I guess, which normally I don't do, but she claims in this movie that she was given this death threat, and they said, "Oh, you can't skate tonight. There's a death threat. We can't keep you safe." And she was like, "Wow," she was so scared. And then she found out that it was Jeff's friend, and Jeff was her husband at the time, if I didn't say that already. It was his friend Sean Eckhart that put in the death threat, and Jeff had the thought like, wow, I wonder if we could do this to Nancy and keep her off the ice. Like, oh yeah, sure. I'm sure Tonya had nothing to do with that. It was just Jeff's idea. Let's keep Nancy Kerrigan off the ice. So anyway, Tonya agreed to this. She did some calling and figured out where she was training at, what times it was, and like one of the thoughts is like, why would she need the address? Why would she need the times if all they were doing was death threats? Like they were gonna send mail to her at like her place with the death threats. Not exactly call them in, I guess. But basically she goes along with this and she says, oh, all I thought it was gonna be was death threats, but they ended up attacking Nancy's leg, as you know. So what's really crazy is that Jeff Gillooly, he paid $3,500 to make this attack happen. Now, do you think this guy Jeff Gillooly, who was just divorced, she had left him already, they were not remarried, they were just seeing each other again, do you think this guy is pulling $3,500 out of his ass to pay for this attack on Nancy Kerrigan, and why? What would be his motivation to be spending that kind of money? At that time, they were not very wealthy. Like, Tonya had her money. She was getting big donations in, etc., etc. But he was far from loaded, And this guy, Sean Eckhart, his good friend, was living with his mother. Was living with his own mother. So, these guys were basically like deadbeats. And they were not young by any means. They're not spending $3,500 out of their money to make this attack happen, and for what? Basically, Tonya Harding saw her career slipping. She was jealous of Nancy Kerrigan. Kerrigan was getting all the attention now. Kerrigan was, a favorite to, win the Olympics or, blah, blah, blah. She was going to win the Nationals. She was a favorite seen by everybody. Tonya Harding was second. So she saw that, she got jealous, envious, blah, blah, blah. And she wanted this attack taken out on Nancy Kerrigan, basically. And she had all this money from donations that came into her, and she put out this hit on them. And I mean, that I find completely despicable, unexplainable, unforgivable, to not compete against someone, but want to murder your way to success and not want to work your way to success. That's despicable. First off, they wanted to kill Nancy Kerrigan. That's what you don't see in this movie, is that originally the plot was to kill her or sever her Achilles tendon to permanently end her career, end her skating career, or end her life. That's what their plan was. Now, they couldn't find a hitman to do all that. So they settled for this guy they knew who agreed to attack her knee with a metal baton. And they figured they would crush her kneecap, basically handicap her and end her career, basically. And they went through with that, paying the $3,500 for that. Now, luckily, the guy misses her knee and hits like right above the knee, and it ends up just being a really bad bruise. But if you're bruised that bad, you cannot walk on it, you can't put weight on it. It hurts tremendously, but it's a lot better than a crushed knee. So that's what Kerrigan had to deal with. She came back. I'm sure Tonya Harding was pissed that this didn't go through the way she planned, because Kerrigan still competed in the Olympics. She didn't compete at Nationals, but she got her ticket to the Olympics. They knew she was the best on the team and that she would have won. That's basically what happened. And people see the end like, oh, why didn't they go after Tonya Harding? They really hit her bad with the losing her right to compete in the skating association and stuff like that, her disbarment or whatever. And she agreed to that. That was the plea deal. There was a plea deal in place that she would agree to plead guilty to the hindering of the prosecution and the apprehension of the individuals involved, that is because she had full knowledge, which she says she didn't learn till afterwards. Yeah, okay. But she agreed to that plea deal. Why? Because she was going to go to trial and they were going to charge her with the second degree assault, which they had plenty of evidence to convict her. The prosecutor on the case said 100% she is guilty of this. We have enough evidence of that. So, I mean, the proof is all there. Come on. Everyone involved accused Tonya of being involved. Everyone that was involved. There was 4 guys, I think. All of them said Tonya. Now she wants to say that Jeff paid $3,500 out of his pocket to have this done, and they did this as some sort of loyalty to Tonya Harding. Why would they give her up like that? It makes no sense. Come on. They did not gain anything from giving her up either. I mean, come on. There was so much evidence going against her. It's ridiculous. And she still wants to play this victim stuff. It's crazy. Now, people want to talk about Kerrigan like she was not the greatest. She was the best in 94, 92. Tonya Harding's time had passed. She was at one time the best. She was not any longer. That's going to be it for my review plus rant. If you saw this movie, leave a comment below what you thought. What's your thoughts on the case and everything else? Have a blessed day. Thank you.